All right. Good morning, everybody. Are we live? I think we're live. Oh, I gotta look at the camera. Day 3 here, streaming live from Auburndale, Florida. Our family vacay has been interrupted by Hurricane Beryl. Is okay. Like we're streaming live. All right. So welcome. I can't read comments. I'm on a PC and I don't want to push it. I want to go. It's not a hurricane yet. It's still tropical storm, so we don't want to overhype it yet. Um, but we're gonna go over all the latest. I got a lot of tabs open here to show you what you can expect and hopefully give you some good information on what's happened overnight and where we're at now and what might happen tomorrow and Monday. Um, Always refer to National Hurricane Center for official forecast. I am not a meteorologist. I am a armchair quarterback. But welcome everybody for tuning in on a Saturday. We got a lot to talk about. Looks like I'll be heading home today. We're probably going to be flying out to Texas. Probably going to go do a little storm documentation before, during, and after, and hopefully we have a break. We might take a real vacation next weekend because we need it. Family gets a little annoyed. I have to disappear and post and get sidetracked a lot, but that's the way it goes. All right, there's the page, Mike's Wear page. What do we got cooking? There is Beryl. Beryl went across the Yucatan. Remember, guys and gals, I don't have comments up. I apologize. We're just gonna go right into the nitty gritty good stuff here. All the graphics. We slow. Other times of the season, we definitely read the comments and chit chat more. But it's all talking weather right now. All right, so this is what it looks like right now. You can kind of see a little dry air. So this is completely expected. We got a lot of dry air wrapping around through Mexico here. That's kind of getting adjusted a little bit. But what I'm starting to see, and everybody's starting to see, some convection starting to fire. Right, here's the Yucatan. I went through the Yucatan last night. It exited around 998, 999. That's pretty much what was predicted. The higher resolution models are still showing a possible 970 to 980 landfall. GFS is in the 970 range too. So, don't look at this thing now and think it's not going to do anything. They're more concerned about tomorrow because landfall is going to be early Monday morning. The effects are starting tomorrow. I'm going to show you all these graphics. But anyway, we'll keep an eye on this. Bursts of convection that don't necessarily mean rapid intensification. It's got to reestablish its stacking. The 500 millibars displaced a little bit from the lower levels, but it's interesting to see that. I will admit. So it looked pretty bad this morning, but we're starting to see some convection firing up currently. You can kind of see where the center's at down here. Some dry air. I have another map up from Weather Nerds here. You can see that dry air. So dry air is not a friend of hurricanes or tropical systems. This is dry air wrapping in around. That was kind of expected, definitely. It's tomorrow that we're going to start to see that frontal line coming down. That's going to probably help feed Beryl a little bit. So today, kind of expected. We'll see how it does today. This convection we'll keep watching. Doesn't have the best look, obviously, right now. But that's what we got. Dry air wrapping in around the backside. Winds, here's what I'm talking about with the stacking. It looks really healthy at 850 and 1000. That's your spin. Came off of Yucatan. Pretty healthy as far as lower level spin. 500 millibar spin. Got displaced. Here's your 500 millibar. And it is well off to the southwest a little bit. So it'll take some time for these two to stack back up together. But the main thing is that Cape Verde seed that I've seen so many times over the years. We'll see. Other than dry air, this thing has got a healthy lower level spin, and sometimes they defy Mother Nature. So that's where we're at with that spinach. Let's see some other stuff I got open up here. All right, let's talk about the official forecast cone. This one just came out a few hours back. We'll have a new one in about an hour and a half. No big changes, 60 mile an hour. Slowing down a lot, 12 miles an hour. Landfall is expected to be later Monday now. They slowed it down a little bit more. So officially, landfall now around midday on Monday. Okay. That gives it a little more time over water. You know, unfortunately, these things can ramp up in a short amount of time. So, official forecast is still 90 mile an hour hurricane making landfall. So, you know, there's a lot to watch tomorrow. We're gonna see what this thing does. Um, kind of doing everything expected. There's your latest 3-day cone. I think the shifts to the east are slowed down quite a bit as far as where the center goes. Remember, don't focus on that cone. I'm going to show you some graphics here that we're going to see a lot of effects east of this cone. So we're going to see feeder bands into Louisiana. Even though that cone doesn't have, the 3-day cone doesn't have Louisiana in it, the white cone, we're going to see storms spiraling in. Okay, possible surge too. So remember that. This is only where the center can go. But anyway, yeah, Mighty's not streaming well. It might be my connection here. Sorry, boy. Sorry, Greg. I'm on Starlink. All right, so there's the latest cone. First stuff we got. Key messages. All right, so basically hurricane force winds, storm surge across Mexico and Texas. Watches and warnings are going to be required later today. Flooding is going to be a big concern. And rip currents. Obviously, rip currents. No swimming during a hurricane. Here's water temperature map. So I wanted to show this because the waters off of the Yucatan are a little cooler than where it's going. And once it's past these little lighter shades of yellow, we're going to be into a little bit warmer waters. This lower part of the Gulf has been cooler. We've had a couple of invests. We had Alberta, we had Chris, but this storm is getting out of these cooler shelf waters here around the Yucatan, and it's going to start feeding into these deeper ocean heat content waters that we have right here. This is a ocean heat content map, and as farther this system goes northwest, the more the water is a little warmer below the surface. So it's escaping these shallow shelf waters now, highlighted in white. So that's kind of extra fuel tomorrow. Another thing you got to keep an eye on, you might hear some, is these loop eddies. We haven't talked about loop eddies a lot over the last few years, but this is a legitimate loop eddy in the Gulf of Mexico. Little river of warm water, and our system will be into that, and it'll actually help a little bit extra fuel. Hotter water, deeper hotter water ahead. So this is all tomorrow. So, you know, getting into a little more favorable environment for development. Water temperature is warmer. Here is timing of your storm. So even though we're looking at a midday, maybe Monday landfall, late morning Monday landfall, this thing is going to be slow. That means even though the center's off the coast, we're going to start seeing effects as early as Sunday morning, possibly, with some of these squall lines reaching Louisiana, maybe even South Texas. Sunday night, probably going to start getting some pretty good feeder bands coming into play. So it's going to be a solid, you know, several 12 hours or so of conditions late Sunday into you know, good part of Monday. But if you got to do any prepping, obviously you want to have it done by midday Sunday as this thing starts to approach. These are your tropical rainfall maps have really picked up a lot, and Brew Crew. I do have my Brew Crew chat up. Probably because I'm using the microphone on my webcam, so I got closer to it. And at home, I have a regular microphone. I think it's microphone. input levels. I didn't play around with that. But anyway, this is a lot more than last night. A lot more than last night. So that bright orange, darker orange color, 8 to 12 inches. So lots of rain. Okay, and we got possibly 8 to 12 inches around the Houston area. 6 to 8. Excuse me, 6 to 8. I'm looking, the colors were too close. 6 to 8 inches around the Houston area. Double digits, you never know, isolated little cells, but overall coverage here, 8 to 12 in that center section. So you can tell rain is a big deal. And there's Corpus Christi to the south, Houston here. So smack dab right there in the middle part of the state. Currently, based on the current track, obviously flooding is going to be a big concern. We already got a moderate red area up for a large part of Texas. Could be some flooding. Look at that yellow all the way through Louisiana. The storm's going to slow down, hook, go off to the northeast. So a lot of folks are going to be feeling Beryl as far as heavy rains go, and the potential for flooding. This will be a big story. Is the flooding, the rains. We do have surge forecasts out. Now these are going to get adjusted if intensity increases. Right now we got 3 to 5 feet. Like Baffin Bay, which includes Corpus Christi all the way up to San Luis Pass. 3 to 5 foot, and then 2 to 4 foot all the way through Galveston area, down to the border. So, you know, areas that flood, 3 to 5 foot currently. Now, if the intensity increases a little bit, the surge forecast will increase a little bit. But that's the current thinking, 3 to 5 foot. Here are your Storm Prediction Center outlooks. Okay, tomorrow, look at that. Later tomorrow evening, we're going to start to see feeder bands. Yellow areas are potential tornadoes. All right, tornado watches likely will be up. And you probably are saying, well, wait a minute. Why, if we're doing a landfall here, why do we have tornado watches past Houston? Well, because as the storm approaches, these feeder bands spin around and impact way outside that cone. And they have a lot of time to build across the Gulf of Mexico and move inland. So typically, most of these stronger bands are going to be east of center. That's why Corpus Christi didn't have much at all right now currently, because they're thinking the storm might be a little to the east in a large area. Now this Sunday. Now look at Monday. Monday. That's weird, right? Now we got potential tornado watches through Houston, Galveston, even into Louisiana. This is on Monday. As our storm starts to turn, wherever it decides to come ashore and start to turn, these bands are going to be making their way along with it. That's probably a little surprise for some that are focused on the center line, right? We could see some strong storms on Monday for eastern Texas and Louisiana. Now, the hurricane hunters are out there flying around right now. This is on tropicaltidbits.com. They have not found a deeper pressure yet, 999. That's good news. If you don't want a strong system, the longer it takes to develop, the less time it'll have to get stronger. But we're seeing those bursts of convection, and even where we're at today, some of these higher resolution models that have done really good are still predicting 970 range, 980 range, which is a pretty strong little hurricane. Not a major, but stronger than a weak hurricane. That's scientific for you. We'll keep an eye on the hurricane hunters and see if we start to see any pressure drops. Usually it takes a little time for pressure drops to develop. You need these solid bursts of convection to set up over center, but you might. All right, where's it going? Latest 12Z models just came out. I think we're done with those big east shifts. Straight northwest tracks, these just came out. These are your 12Z, and pretty tight cluster. And look at that core. I mean, that's about as It's about as tight as you're going to get for 2 days out, so confidence is pretty good. Um, so there you go, latest. All right, other models. Your ensembles here from GFS. Now they've done really, really, really good with the track. I know they're still spread out a little bit, but you kind of look at that black line now. The mean average. You're just kind of getting that feeling, where we're going here. Remember, center line's one thing, but the effects are off to the east, less to the west, more to the east. And that slowdown is, a little tricky because it might have a little more time to intensify right before landfall, which has happened many a times over the years. I keep referring back to Hurricane Sally for the upper Gulf Coast. Could be a sneaky little Sally situation. Any deepening system on approach to land carries more inland effects than a weakening system approaching land. So we're liable to see uh, this thing go inland and actually have effects that some might not be expecting because the pressures are still developing and getting deeper. Latest European ensembles still spread out quite a bit. But again, if you were to take the black mean line, it's averaging all of those together, and it's starting to get tighter. Um, and you can see the colors. Brighter yellows are stronger system, but you can see almost every one of these things on approach increase intensity tomorrow. That's what we're watching for. That's always been in the forecast. It's kind of what it is today will determine a lot what it is tomorrow, because it will intensify tomorrow. If it's strong, if it gets a little stronger today than expected, then it'll be stronger tomorrow than expected. That's the problem. But today is really important to find out how strong it might get on a Monday landfall. So that's what I'm watching close. We could go to this full screen radar. It's kind of a cool site. You can zoom in on the cone. By the way, everybody, Shelly's in competition right now with Mason. So if she's not watching, we're thinking of you, Shelly. All right, so let's zoom super duper close to Texas here on the latest cone. If you're kind of curious with the land and cities and that good stuff, let me turn off the radar. We could put spaghetti models on. Maybe it might get confusing though. No, they actually trended back a little south. All right. I don't know the spaghetti models on this site if they're very accurate. They are. But anyway, there is your center line, which they tell you never to look at, but there you go. um, just kind of puts it in perspective where we're at, and if we were to get a landfalling system on this eye, then obviously 4 would be most affected here. We don't have any really winds yet to talk about as far as hurricane force, tropical storm force winds, systems developing. You can kind of get a good look here on your National Hurricane Center site. Kind of gives you the current wind field, which is kind of nice right here. That gives you an idea what the size of the tropical storm winds are. And as you can see, they extend out more to the east and northeast. That's your tropical storm wind field as it approaches. But any little shifts here and there. I mean, it's smack dab between Corpus Christi and Houston, pretty much. Victoria's really, really close. So we'll see. 11 o'clock advisory. We'll see if there's a teeny little shift here and there. Little shifts won't make a big difference right now. It's a broad system. Oh, here's another map for you. Let's take a look at this little guy. We used to share these a lot. They're very confusing. I don't know if I'm going to share them. They're kind of a worst case scenario. map. They're confusing because it makes it look like everybody's going to get the worst case scenario. But anyway, these are your winds. This is your wind threats, and there's a little key on the bottom here. Pull these in a little bit better. So there you go. I mean, look at, you got, yellow winds 39 to 57, orange 58 to 73, and red areas 74 to 110. Now that's, I assume it's wind gusts. Heard a lot of these during Ian. They were kind of confusing because they didn't really materialize a lot, but it kind of gives you the areas, at least right now, that are expected to possibly see the big stuff as far as winds go. We'll get updated at 11 o'clock too. A lot of it's based on that cone, and but big winds. Orange 58 to 73, well inland, San Antonio, near in Austin. Do they have some other graphics here we can click on? Storm surge, already showed storm surge. Flooding rains, here's your flooding rain map. Tornadoes, there's your tornado map. North of Corpus Christi through Houston. So these maps are kind of good. I guess I can link them to the site. I think I will link them to the site. They're actually, you can find them right now. I don't have them linked, but go to the National Hurricane Center website. Should be here somewhere. Always hard to find. Local products right here. So local products goes to those different divisions: Brownsville, Houston, and Corpus Christi. And they have local statements, which are nice. You can read about what they're thinking for your area. Some other cool maps they got that are, give you an idea. Worst case scenario, storm surge inundation maps. Kind of using, but they also help give you the worst case possibilities. Currently, what they're thinking. So it's called Potential Storm Surge Flooding Map. This is kind of based on, again, the current forecast. They change with every update. So all this stuff gets magnified if we get a stronger storm, and of course they get reduced if we get a weaker storm. You can zoom into more particular areas here and just kind of look at what the current thinking is and areas that could see surge. Yellow is higher than blue. So it's a useful tool. And, zoom into your area and kind of look at worst case scenarios. Surge. All right, let's look at the latest models. We show this map a lot. Brian, I love this site, man. The number one question I always get from people, this is Brian Tang, University of Albany. People always want to know the best performing model, and I think what kind of got me really impressed with our H-Wharf was auto verification, let's say 3 days out, 4 days out, 5 days out. So 4 days out, purple. That's tracking. Hold on, let me show you the intensity first. Here we go. So 4 days out, the H-Wharf was the most accurate as far as predicting wind speeds that are current. Purple H-Wharf. 3 days out, number one. Now 2 days out, I don't know what the CTC model is, but bottom line is the H-Wharf has been very consistently one of the best predictors with intensity. And really what's interesting on track, it did pretty darn good too. Track accuracy, I don't know. 4 days out, who did pretty good was the GFS ensembles. I talked about that yesterday a lot. UK is not doing good at all with track. Green, Canadian not doing good at all. Even the Euro, look how far off the Euro is. You never see the Euro that many miles off from the actual where it's at. So we look at, let's say 3 days out. Let's say 3 days out. Who was really good on the track? Well, the GFS ensembles were very good. That would be that black mean line, and the H-Wharf, one of the best. 4 days out, 3 days out. And if you want to know about intensity, same thing. 3 days out, H Wharf was way above everybody else. 4 days out, way above everybody else. And 2 days out was almost way better. I don't know what this guy here is. It's the CTCX. I had to find that out. So now we're going to look at the model. So let's go to the H Wharf. Just because it's been very good with intensity. This would be a 12Z run coming out soon. 6Z just got done. But the H Wharf, if we're going to go on models that have performed well, I'm trying to zoom it good. Throughout the day today, this is what it's doing. So this is overnight tonight, 995 pressure, right? So it's not expecting this thing to do much today. This would be overnight tonight, nearing tomorrow morning, 3 Z's, like midnightish, 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. I don't know, before daybreak. 90, and it. So this is that. This is the theme from the last 3, 4, 5 days. You know, last second intensification on approach. And if the H Wharf has been the best performing model so far out, we got to look at that as a real possibility and track. And this would be early Monday morning. Now watch what happens to the pressures when we go inland. 979, 983, 986. There's that slow weakening that I talk about a lot. So we can see these winds continue inland throughout the day on Monday. If this thing deepens on landfall, it'll take time to weaken as it goes inland. So it's not just a coastal event at all. All right, let's look at halves. HMON's done really good with track. The HMON showing this tomorrow morning, 987, and it 6Z, and it deepens it to 979, 76, 71, 70 on land. So there's a deepening system inland. Then it takes time to weaken, 980. So another deepening system on approach. Not expected to do much today. At 992 overnight tonight. Has A been pretty decent, so overnight tonight it's expecting our system to be 997 pressure. So it's saying it ain't gonna drop at all. So this is where it's so important today. If this sneaky little Cape Verde seed system decides to tighten up today a little more than these models expect, then this deepening is still going to happen. It just might end up being deeper now as it approaches Monday. So overnight tonight, HASA isn't expecting our system to do anything. But then tomorrow or Sunday morning, 992, 89, 85, 84. Not as 978. Not as bad, but still 970. Sometimes the winds don't catch up to these low pressures, but we're still going to see 970 inland possibly Monday morning. So all these models are predicting now 970 range. GFS, high resolution model here overnight tonight. Let's see here, 1001. That's not expecting anything. That's higher than it is now, so that's probably not accurate. And oh my God, it rapidly goes from 991 to 970. 974 or 979, anyway, 970 range. Then it's back to 9. So it again, it really deepens on approach, even though it's saying 1001 tonight, which is high. So there you go. I mean, that's 4 models showing the same thing, you know. The latest Euro 6Z, is it out yet? Yep. There's your latest Euro 6Z, 994 tonight. This ought to really deepen. Let's see, 998, 988, 786, 84, 83, 80, 76. There you go. That's about. So in a nutshell, you know, this thing got a day tomorrow. All the models are thinking it's gonna intensify. Warmer water, less wind shear tomorrow. going to be pulling in some moisture from the upper front. I'm telling you, I think a lot of people. I had one hater this morning telling me I was a fear mongerer. I need to get a shirt called fear mongerer, whatever that. I spread fear because it's only a tropical depression right now, apparently. Some of this moisture it's going to feed into. Here's that line coming down the south here as our system nears the coast. This is your moisture map on tropicaltidbits.com. Humidity, but it kind of gives you an idea of the levels of juice in the atmosphere. So some of that dry air that we're seeing wrapped around today, tomorrow morning we should start to be able to pull some of this moisture into the core as it wraps around and give it a little bit more juice to seal off that dry air that we're seeing today. Doesn't have it today. There's out in front coming down, and then tomorrow it starts to feed into some of this moisture from that trough coming down tomorrow. So that's fascinating stuff to me. We can see that tomorrow, maybe right here. And there's that line tomorrow. This is the line that's pulling it north. This is the line that's breaking down our high pressure. This is the low that's going to be attracted to that weakness. Maybe even feed into that, help it intensify last second. So there's a lot to talk about. But it looks like I'm heading out. I think we're going to meet 4 potential sponsors. I know Tammy from OSR is going to be setting up, so Tammy and crew. I was talking to somebody here yesterday at Margaritaville that knows you, Tammy. They know that you guys and gals are damage assessors. Uh-oh, website's slow. There we go. So we'll probably meet up with OSR. They're going to be on the field. We're going to be meeting up with Greg. Greg's going to be having their fast team out there. Something new from Furman this year is a response team that's going to be there helping folks with generators, so that we're going to be working together somewhere with Furman. My buddy Brian here from Mooring, they're based out of Texas. We're going to meet somewhere tomorrow, possibly north of Corpus Christi, so we'll see them. They're going to be set up helping folks in disaster restoration companies. So if you need any help there, for sure give them a call, especially in Texas. They're based out of Texas. And then, believe it or not, our friends from Coastal Claims, they work a lot in Texas. They're going to be there helping customers with insurance. So it's crazy. Everybody that supports MWP will be on the ground helping. If people need help. I think my computer is now saying it's time to go. And last but not least, who else is going to be there set up is our buddies from Lodging Solutions. They'll be out there doing base camps and setting up for all linemen. They're the ones that build these tent cities overnight, and everybody uses Lodging Solutions when our companies and more need places to set up and stay. Huge industries that you didn't even know existed. Look at all these sleeper trailers. So they'll be rolling in. They're based out of Houston too. Did you know that, Brian, if you're listening? So Lodging Solutions is based out of Houston also. Crazy, right? So there you have it. I'm going to do a quickie little reel here in a little bit, get everybody up to speed once the 11 o'clock comes out. That's it. Just watching, waiting. I mean, today's, watching those hurricane hunters. Let's see what the last fix was. If we start to see pressures, stay stable, that's great news. Some of these models aren't expecting anything to happen until overnight. I mean, so we're not expecting anything really to ramp up today. We'll be watching that convection. If that convection starts to fight around that center and, the pressure did drop. Well, see, there we go. That's not good. Look at that. Oof. We'll be watching that close. So, what's up there, Brew Crew? Hopefully the sound got fixed. But listen, I hope this information's helpful. I usually work from a studio, but we're heading home today. I'm cutting vacation short. We'll probably do something tonight, another video tonight. So, been dedicated. Hopefully, you know, you got some good information out of this storm. And it seems like we've been tracking it forever. But things we watch for today is how fast this thing bounces back, and I'm starting to see this thing looking a lot better. Unbelievable. I'll tell you, man. Cape Verde seed. I'm telling you, nobody else talks about that. But these systems over the years, when they have a tight core circulation like they're showing, they bounce back sometimes fast. No reason about that. It's just, you know, I'm gonna have my eyes glued on this convection throughout the day today. Oh my goodness. No wonder we got pressure drop. Getting more bubbling. Now these little bursts will come and go, but the bottom line is, oof, that's a big burst. Yep. Hurricane Sally. You know, I would definitely be, you know, watching on that Texas coastline for this last second development. This thing develops today. If this thing gets down in the 990s today or 980s, we got trouble. We got more than a Cat 1, Cat 2-ish, you know. Boy, that thing's filling up fast, man. That's that warm water too, man. It's got away from that shallow shelf waters off the Yucatan. Shared all the water maps earlier, and it's going to start feeding off of that frontal line here soon. It's going to be getting a new source of moisture. It's going to be able to wrap in around. Very impressive burst of convection right now. So interesting. All right. Well, hopefully everything in a nutshell made sense. Texas on alert. Remember, Louisiana, you're not out of it as far as getting rough weather. You even got Storm Prediction Center showing potential lines heading your way Monday. There you go. All right, I'm going to sign off. Have a great Saturday. Stay tuned where we're doing, where I'm at. We'll be doing a little quickie reel here in a little bit. I might go live tonight if this thing looks like it's going to develop a little more than some of the models are showing for today. We'll know by tonight, but that's definitely something to watch, is this big burst of convection by the center. There you go. Have a good one, everybody. We'll be tracking this thing together, all right? Spread the word, Texas. Got Beryl coming.